Hello folks, this is Miguel from the Embargo Man channel. I did this video not because where my heart follows. I did this video because who remember Pope Francis, alright? So I thought at first, well, Francis, like where the name Francis, okay. I was thinking about Francis Xavier, a missionary that introduced Christianity to Japan, right? So I was just thinking about that, right? But it wasn't that Francis. It was Francis of Assisi, another Francis that that he was there for the people, and that he was somebody caring for animals, right? So this Francis Xavier, it is chosen the name. It was made by Mario. His real name is Mario. Jorge Mario Borgulelo, right? So that was his real name, right? So I didn't mention and didn't notice it, right? Because when I heard about the story about the retired Pope John Benedict the 16th, even though if you are a Catholic and you're watching this, I wonder is this would be. I mean, I did this because there's one impact story where my heart goes, and then the act of kindness that this Pope has brought us to is not like he blessed animals or he went to people and needy and whatever it is. He became like a common man Pope, alright? So, like, not Nevada, like, not riding in all these fancy clothes. That's why he wear a silver ring. All right, didn't wear a gold ring. He wore a silver ring, and he was more of a people person. All right, and that's the kind of Francis Xavier. I mean, not Francis. That's the kind of Francis that we believe that is the Francis of Assisi. He took the name because of Francis of Assisi. All right, so the most likely of all this, that the message came through, even though living in these times where people are becoming, we having like leaders who are machine men, all right? So he is this kind of person, a true world leader, let me tell you what, right? So he showed kindness to the heart to accept people who are different. You know, I could remember somebody I know that I read. I mean, whoever's watching this, I know I still have love for this person, even though I read this individual's book. All right, so this follows me through her, and this follows me that Francis is aligned to a person that cares and loves anybody, even LGBTQ community. Like, we have been, set on this, like how different they are. All right, just because a man likes a boy likes boys, girl likes girls is their problem. All right, I don't know. I'm not fully went there yet, but this is touched this person's heart, that I know this individual that I know is a popular YouTuber, and then I knew I have love with there, and I did this because within the love of my heart. All right, why I have done this? Because let me ask you something. There's so many things that I could remember about Pope Francis visiting every single country. My dad told me, oh, his visit to Colombia, right? It was, and his visit is all to get people together, different cultures, all right? So, regardless of how they are, and then this is the man who show us how to love. And I remember that because somebody with the same heart, and I mean, I see you, Jenna, if you're watching this video, if you remember Pope Francis, and then, oh yeah, Pope Francis passed away. Pope Francis has your sister's heart. That's the reason why I made this video. That's the reason why. All the other reasons why I'll tell you this, because this video I made because there's one thing of importance that we all know. Okay? All the rumors, oh, that there's gonna be a Filipino pope, right? I mean, there's gonna be an African pope. Alright, take all these sections like a grain of salt and apply it like it is fake news. It is fake news because there is no successor yet. But I will tell you my predictions, all right? The predictions of all, and let me tell you where I could settle my predictions of who will be the next pope. Yes, it's gonna be Asian, but not Filipino, not Korean, not Chinese, right? Why? Because it is all clear where it comes from, all right? That's where it is. You need to settle in, handle it, pick up your popcorn, believe if my predictions will be right. You be very granted that I guarantee you somebody is gonna go right there. Whoever this person is, right there in St. Mary's Cathedral, putting a big projecting or putting a big jumbotron, because hey, I noticed about this. The main thing when Pope Francis came to Japan, that is my very least, or what is the most remembers. I remember, I'm not even Japanese, but I remember when Pope Francis came to Japan and he said that he is against nuclear weapons, right? He went to the sites of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Those places where us, or the people of the United States, yes, I'm living here because I was born here, has dropped 2 atomic bombs out of just senseless crime, killing innocent people and being constructed of the mind, okay, these people are bad or whatever it is. No, sometimes government has poisoned our mind. Oh yeah, we should have like dropped 2 nukes on Germany or something. Same thing, right? No, we're all human beings, and this is where the kindness of his heart teach us that this kind of incident and this kind of nonsense is still us human beings, regardless it is what our faith or who is Catholic or Christians of other denominations, understand that this kind of nonsense is still going on today. It's going on today because you have these conflicts, you have all these things going on right there. Why? People who are humble, people are there are the ones that's suffering. Nobody's perfect. They have even ruthless leaders around the world, and we all know about the kindness of this man. I mean, His Holiness, I'm gonna call him, if you are a Catholic or whatever, His Holiness is the one stepped in to say, stop the use of nuclear weapons. Yes, stop the use of nuclear weapons. Right? That's shook about even Japanese Catholics who are ever watching in there. And I understand of this, right? I did this because there's somebody with a heart that I always notice. I watch her videos. She has helped to say reduce paper waste is Earth Day, right? Reduce paper waste of paying a bill. Not just a phone bill, but the 300-page iPhone bill. I remember you. I remember you. And you are there at the same site. You don't have to say, don't forget to go to these sites. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, St. Mary's Cathedral when he did a speech about bullying, and then he wanted to go to Japan, right? And that's just a mission right there. But just to say, Easter Sunday, Francis passed away at 7 in the morning. All right, put it that way. And what else I could say? I'm seeing this. I'm regarding to follow the heart of somebody. I did this video because love could follow hearts, and hearts could follow that love could take you to the right direction. I have never met the person yet, but just reading a book that I think I review by time, that person that I read about this YouTuber has kept me, or by the time that I saw her showing some girl named Lizzie being bullied, the heart of mine has followed her. I followed her heart. I followed what it is, and I did this video because I knew this is going to be. We could commemorate him. Let's honor Pope Francis. He has done such great work, not just in Japan, but all over the world. He was right there at Congress, all right, in the U.S., all right. So he was in Washington D.C., right. But the main thing that I remember about Pope Francis is on his trip to Japan, because most certainly I could have this connections of Christianity in Japan about my confirmation saint is Japanese, even though Michael is the name or in Spanish, right? So what it is about history about this, and this is go way back. Having the successor to Pope Francis coming from one particular country is accomplishing a homework. All right, somebody's gonna do, Saint Francis Xavier's homework, right? And I have in mind that you have seen who is going to be the successor. All right, let's go back. Who's the successor, or who will be this man, right? That is gonna go way back in history, way back in the following about Pope Francis Xavier. Pope Francis Xavier introduced Christianity to Japan. He introduced Catholicism, all right, in Nagasaki and places like this, all right. These holy sites, for Justine, I'm saying, I talk about it because since Pope Francis has died and the kindness of his heart showed to love one another and accept others, is why I'm just saying I did this video, because my heart follows him. He is like you, right? So whoever remembers him, I would say he did a speech very well said. People who suffer from the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, at the same site he spoke. Like he is against those kind of things, right? He spoke against bullying because of the kid. Okay, that kid, that kid who got bullied right in front of St. Mary's Cathedral, he talked about his bullying because he's different, because the other ones, like, they think they're better than him because I don't know if he's Chinese or something like that, but yes, like the Japanese think they're better than the Chinese or whatever. That's kind of ridiculous, right? So here we go. The kid is like Lizzie. Put it that way. The kid is like Lizzie, who has similar to Lizzie, who is a girl that have too thin and whatever can they call her the ugliest girl in the world and whatever. Yes, that Chinese, Japanese, Chinese kid, or whatever he's from, got bullied because they think they have kids in school. Oh yeah, we're Japanese, we're better than you, whatever, that kind of bullying. All right, so that was another speech about that anti-bullying. All right, he talked about the threat of nuclear weapons that we still gonna have, and we still ignoring this because they're gonna have more weapons to be used, not just on Japan anymore. Well, more on China, more on some other ones. Who is gonna be humble, all right, or who's gonna be the next to destroying innocent people's lives and destruction? That's what's called WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. It's kind of sadness after I knew the change of heart where I go and I learn about it. Yeah, this is where I'm in touch with the culture, and when I'm in touch with, oh, I want to go to this country. Pope Francis went to the country I wanted to go. I have never been there, but I wanted to go. It's so exciting, or whatever it is, cultural differences and everything like that. Yes, but we know about this. But she was talking about Francis Xavier spread Christianity to Japan, spread Catholicism, if you wanted to. Then came the saint that I chose, Paul Miki. Paul Miki was also spreading the good news in Japan. Christian people who want to be Catholicism, want to be Catholics in Japan, they've been suffering, and I mean, one time about authoritarian emperor, like this kind of like they didn't have any religious freedom, and then they. And now later on, thanks to these individuals, now Japan, like everybody else, have religious freedom, even though it's 1% of the population. Most Christianized countries in Asia include the Philippines and South Korea. All right, so and probably some places in Asia, Australia, put it that way. All right, but. For a matter of fact, let's point about this, that we're going to talk about somebody that is going to complete the homework of Francis Xavier and St. Paul Miki. Is going to be Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda. And why I believe that Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda would replace Pope Francis is because it would be the first time in history I said, this is my predictions, don't believe it true, but if my predictions could be right, all right? So it's not going to be overnight. It's going to have days and days. They're going to have the funeral of a pope. It's kind of beautiful and everything like that, and then you have the elections of all the popes from all the cardinals from all over the world who are going to be the successor to the next pope. Who's going to be the successor of Francis? Who's going to be the successor to John Paul II? We have Ratzinger, who was Pope Benedict, retired because of other issues, scandals and everything like that. Francis came along, and yes, and then now Francis has passed away. This is the homework completed by St. Francis Xavier and Paul Miki. But yes, another Francis came, but he took the name of Assisi, somebody who is kind and helped the poor and whatever it is, After the successor voting in, you have to get ready. If you know right there, if my predictions would be right of Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda becomes Pope Michael, I will tell you about Pope Michael, and I'm gonna tell you what is the cultural differences, because I notice who is Pope Michael, or let me tell you what is Michael. It's just biblical. It's just I could tell you my own predictions if they were right. All right, smoke coming out, white smoke. Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda is chosen, and he becomes Pope Michael. White smoke right there. I mean, I just think you could go for the day 20 to go to stay in Japan, but wait until you see a jumbotron in Tokyo, or maybe a jumbotron or projected jumbotron right there, projected right there in St. Mary's Cathedral. You know, the first pope from Japan, the first Asian pope, is gonna make history in the media, and he shows the name Michael. And let me tell you for that reason why. The reason why Michael, and then this is gonna be talked about on the Same Brain channel about all this, about Justine's trip to Japan, and about Pope Michael, and how Pope Michael is there. And for a reason is, and let me explain the reason why the name Michael is. Michael is the archangel. You know who's the archangel Michael, right? And you have seen one of the things it is. I know there's gonna be somebody who is a samurai who's converted to Catholicism, whatever, into the faith. Okay, let me explain what the termination, and I noticed what in the context to mix who is this Archangel Michael. Miguel's in Michael in Spanish, because this is an honorable name, is because in the context going to cultural understanding what it is. The word samurai is somebody who serves thy master, and somebody who serves thy master is a samurai who serve a lord, an emperor, its lord. That's a samurai fighting for the feudal and for the protection of the people. But this is type of name calling of Pope Michael. It is more like a samurai of the faith, serving God. God is like thy master. Why I'll tell you that, because as fighting evil forces in this world, that we need to be like that. Even some other controversial YouTuber who is washing, I believe you're washing about and he says, okay, samurai of the 21st century, or the modern era, right? This Kakyu Nakayama or so. Oh, I know him, right? So because I saw his videos, right? He was complaining about the Lian court and all this stuff, right? And anything, right? He'll be maybe a convert if he sees Pope Michael. Pope Michael, as it is, this is what it is about this. The name is he chose that name because of that, because he's gonna follow the rules, and nobody will never forget about the culture of who are these people. It's gonna be like a cultural chip, all right? As my predictions would be right, Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda as Pope Michael to have chosen the name because he wanted to be like the samurai of the faith. And what it is about samurai of the faith, serving God as thy master, Jesus Christ as thy master, is you are Michael. Or like saying, no, you're not Michael. Is that this person is Michael. Like he is Michael. he is serving in his clan of serving for one purpose, defender of the faith, serving God, serving God as thy master, as Michael the archangel has been in so many battles against demons, and that's why he chose the name, because it is in his culture, the samurai spirit. That you know that if it's the samurai spirit in him, that I believe that's how the Japanese think about the samurai spirit. That he is going to be called himself Michael because of the samurai spirit of his culture, onto where he never forget his roots. And for the reason why I would say, if my predictions were to be right, and that's the name he chosen, and that's the path he gets. He still believe in Jesus Christ and the sacraments and all that stuff, but he chose the path to be called because he never forget his roots or where he comes from. Yes, I mean, a pope from Japan will never forget his roots. If we have a first pope from Japan, that in this case, the samurai spirit lives in him, and Michael the archangel is the perfect fit. Yes, it's the perfect fit. Why? Because so many battles, and he served the master, the Lord God. Right? So, what it is about these battles and demons that we have to face challenges, discrimination, people being isolated, having shown the kindness of heart, but bravery, yes, bravery and courage. Because Michael is a very archangel with courage. Just give you courage. But kindness in there of the heart. And not just it's not going to be finishing what Saint Francis Xavier or Saint Paul Mickey to do that in the end. It would finish the homework beyond Japan, through Asia, and throughout the world, visiting so many sites. He'll be visiting Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and get forgiveness to what have happened back in 1941. Maybe change the things about all this people, about this type of slavery. He might even go to China or Korea, where his own country, back in World War II, soldiers were raping Chinese and Korean women, and have forgave them for their own sins. All right, you know, a shocker, right? You know, a mind-blowing shock to have this type of thing. Never to forget their own roots as it is. And why I say this on my predictions, I might be right, and you get ready. Get ready. Anybody that you watch on the TV, at home, on your phones, on whatever device you are, your iPhone, your Sony Bravias, or at the site where it's going to happen in Vatican City. Who's in Vatican City? Or at the site where they announce it, right there in Tokyo, in St. Mary's Cathedral. Maybe Justine, you might be there having it. Okay, I'm gonna do day 20. Boom, that's it. You're gonna see this. You're gonna see. We have a pope. It says "Tu hemos papa." All right, he said in Latin. Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda as Pope Michael. You see that celebrations, bell rings at St. Mary's Cathedral in Tokyo. And this is where I said this, if my predictions are right, and it's going to be the talk of the town in the same brain channel about Jenna talking with Justine at the site of the first Pope from Japan. It's going to be talk of the town. Yes, first Pope of Japan, Pope Michael, and the bells ringing in St. Mary's Cathedral and whatever, Yes, and plus the sites, don't forget to go Hiroshima, Nagasaki. I mean, let me tell you what, St. Mary's Cathedral is a very beautiful church. I have never been there, but I love to go there, Besides other temples, Shinto temples and whatever, Not my cup of tea, but I respect the belief systems. It's not my cup of tea, but yeah. More power to you if you want to follow that, right? So, put in the way of all this, if I could remember, Pope Francis was a pope for the people. I mean, the first Argentine pope, first pope of the New World, from the Americas, not from the USA, but from the Americas. I mean, I understand with the faith in everybody, and we all intervene, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Shinto, whatever, right? But who are even Protestants, right? But I will say with this, anybody who's of other faiths, anybody who is from a Protestant branch, I respect your faith, even though we are in the same boat for the people in the Protestant branches, Orthodox Christians, anybody around there, other faiths. I know where to go to the same path. Maybe if you feel in your heart where to go ahead. I mean, I said this because, and I made this video because everybody knows how people love Pope Francis. He was the first Pope of the Americas. He's from Argentina. He's of Italian background. His immigrants are from Italy. Right? And then the most important thing is on his trip to Japan. That's something I remember what Pope Francis did. He might go to Colombia. He might just go to Korea or wherever Pope Francis did in his entire life as Pope during his papacy. But in my predictions as Pope Michael, we're going to make history. Same brain channel, talk of the town, Justine Zarek talking about Pope Michael and how Pope Michael became the first Japanese Pope in history. If my predictions are wrong, the only thing that I could agree about the Pope that they think there are going to their predictions, the only predictions that I believe is going to be a Dutchman being Pope and attacking a cult. In other words, attacking the Moonies in South Korea. But in Japan he will get this Sinead O'Connor vibe. Because even though he's going to forgive somebody who assassinated, all right, Tatsuya Yamaguchi, you know who is Shinzo Abe and stuff, right? He's gonna go with Aki Abi. I don't know if his name was gonna be John 24, but what would happen if we have a Dutch Pope? Even though I'm more focused on Pope, on Cardinal Thomas and Aquino Manyo Maeda as Pope Michael. I hope nothing's gonna happen to him. But if for William, if it happens, that means the only predictions I believe in the said that they picked a Dutch man as a pope is that Sinead O'Connor vibes. You know, SNL, Saturday Night Live, Sinead O'Connor ripping the picture of Pope John Paul II. We might have that repeat itself if we have the predictions of they picking a Dutch man being a pope, going to and the side of the Moonies, criticizing the Moonies, going to the side of a prison where Abby's killer, I mean, is there. Forgive him. Like what John Paul II did to somebody that tried to kill John Paul II, but he forgave the guy that planned to kill him. But this time, if we have a Dutch Pope, they're gonna have forgive the guy that actually killed a former world leader in Japan. But then we're gonna do that not because of people in religious authority abusing children, more because forgiving somebody just to keep the eye on, oh yeah, we need to protect, yeah, this kind of ignorance, saying not going to see a blind eye without the act of kindness to say, oh, you know what, let's rip the picture. Yes, that Sinead O'Connor vibes from 1992 in SNL. Other than that, well, my predictions of the first Asian Pope to be from Japan might be wrong, but the predictions of other people saying, oh yeah, let's take this William Pope, I might take it as real, that it might happen in the other direction, but I'm not gonna take it fully, get it to 100% status. I'll get it like around like 95%. Yeah, 95% of the time, right? More likely. Well, everything you hear on the news or that says, oh, they're gonna be a pope from Africa or they're gonna be a pope from whatever country, don't just trust like it is 100% true that is going to really happen. Take it like it is fake news. For now, take it like it is fake news until the real election happen, until they set up on the Sistine Chapel, coming up, like whoever it is, and whoever it is, it's coming. That's the Pope you get. That's the name he gonna use. Maybe John 24. Maybe if the one of the other predictions that they say, oh yeah, I see it's gonna be a Dutch man. I take it on that. All right, I'll take that over to why out of my own predictions of what I think and what I have saying that okay, because why I take this out of my own prediction, because you gotta know, because life is full of surprises, right? You might not know about this. This would be the best thing since the introduction of Pope John Paul II becoming the first Polish Pope, right? You notice that Pope John Paul II, another people's pope who loved him, he made history. my predictions of Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda becoming Francis' successor is gonna mark the same history as it did with Pope John Paul II, and also of what Francis did. But I could remember about Francis in my own heart and my words to say, day that I remember Pope Francis is the day that he stood up for against bullying of a kid, against nuclear weapons, when he has his dream trip that he went to Japan and preach about it. Preach about kindness, preach about stop bullying and stop using nuclear weapons. Because this is kindness, it's not going to be nuclear weapons, it will be falling faulty planes and stuff, right? Who knows? But yeah, make sure anybody predict the video. I would love to wait if the predictions of other videos, and oh, who's this Dutch Pope John 24, who is maybe a black pope, maybe a pope from the United States of America, maybe a Filipino pope. But I'm more towards the predictions of other people, more toward the Dutchman than anybody else. But my own predictions on this that I'm very firm is Thomas Aquino Manyo Maeda could be Francis' successor. I would just note it inside my heart, because I notice once it happens, it's gonna mark the same history since the people were cheering on when Pope John Paul II was rising up back in the 1970s, 78 or something like, to become the first Polish Pope. And we might have the same feeling, the same John Paul II vibes when we're gonna have the first Pope from Japan, right? So that, if my predictions are right, I bet the talk of the town on the same brain channel is gonna pop up right there if it happens. If it not, it's gonna be the talk of the town, but in a different vibe. So see you in the next channel. See, and please don't forget to subscribe on Embargo Man. We all know that the kindness of this, even for you who is in Japan right now. Justine, I read your book, and I know, I understand, and Lizzie, Pope Francis is more of you. He has the heart as you have. He has the kindness as you have. And he preached what he believed. Heart, kindness, and accept of others. Remember that. Remember that, people who are going to have great memories of Pope Francis. My only special memory for him is the day that he went to Japan and he said in St. Mary's Cathedral, going against bullying. The day that he's stuck in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, about going against, and that white people need to stop using nuclear weapons. That most likely that the kid, St. Mary's Cathedral, reminds me of a woman who has very thin, and a friend that says, oh look, don't have this kind of bullying and nonsense, that we all need to live together, follow your kindness of our hearts. In that way, the world becomes a better place. Why? Because we need that in this world, and we need to follow good examples of good leadership. That's the reason why. Goodbye, people, and see you on the next video on Embargo Man channel.